This comparison is something of an enthusiast special. We've got the brilliant Lotus Emira pitted against that other most charming of driver-focused vehicles, the Mazda Miata. Which one of these two provides a more pure and wholesome, exciting and invigorating driving experience? Let's find out. A little bit of warm up here. I'm going to see what this Emira can do. Coming on to this rear chicane section. This is kind of where this track gets interesting. Deep into the brakes, we'll turn in. And I can tell already that this chassis is really, really well balanced. Of course, it's a mid-engine, rear mid-engine with near perfect weight distribution. And that really is the makings of a great track car, isn't it? 400 horsepower, by the way, from this V6, 310 pound-feet of torque, beautiful, snappy, 6-speed manual transmission, and a red line at about 6,800, I would say, RPM, which is lovely, really nice. Nice long gears. You can kind of sit in second a lot of the time, find third if you need to. Whine of the supercharger, the fact that I can see that beautiful little throttle cable heading to that accelerator. I can see that working. I think that's so cool. Oh, sounds good, no? It's not overpowering, but on the track here, it comes alive. As a car, you can drive to a racetrack, put some laps on and drive home, take your partner out for a meal without them having to climb over 1.5 feet of carbon fiber tub. This is pretty much on the money. And speaking of money, you will be able to get an Emira with a 4-cylinder engine for around $77,000. This one, being a first edition, comes in at around about $100,000. It's quite a lot of money. Having said that, as we've just said, this thing can do a bit of everything, which I think is very impressive. Push the Lotus hard on the track and you'll be rewarded with a level of confidence not felt in the likes of the Elise or Evora. Both of which were stunning cars, but both also had a tendency to act like a wild animal at a moment's notice. Who's going to win out in the battle of the enthusiast specials? Well, the Emira's put up a damn good showing, but now it's the turn of the mighty Mazda Miata. This is the Mazda Miata Club. Let's see what you can do. So, the Lotus Emira had a 3.5-litre V6 with a supercharger, produced 400 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque. The Miata has an inline-4, naturally aspirated, and that gives you 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. It's literally got half of the Lotus. However, it's got, again, like the Lotus, spectacular weight distribution, and as a result, gorgeous dynamic feel. It really is a really, really, really impressive car to drive. The Miata is probably the purest example, and we're going to use that word a lot, purity. It's the purest example of a car that just connects you to the road, just gives you what you need to go out and have fun. And that is exactly what we're doing here. Now, this track battle was never about which car could set the quicker time. What it was about was which car was more fun to drive, more engaging and dynamic and interesting. That's what it is. If you're an enthusiast, after all, what you want is a car that's going to interest you, make you want to drive it. So, with that in mind, let's feel out the little Miata a bit. Okay, so there's definitely more body roll in the Miata. It's quite a lot lighter, of course, but still, I think the weight transfer is a little bit more apparent. Again, the gears are nice and long. That is obviously a blessing in a manual car. You don't want to be switching up and down like you're in Fast and the Furious between every corner. And again, I think Mazda have done a really nice job of making this car, completely serviceable, really nice on the road, really nice to drive around town and whatnot. But on the track, you kind of go, okay, this little thing's coming alive. heel toe action. I just love how you can get a little bit overzealous with the steering inputs, utilizing that weight transfer to just unsettle the car ever so slightly. The whole time you know you can catch it, you know that it's going to be all right. Now, you've heard of a BBL. This car has what I like to call the BBR. That is Brembo, BBS and Recaros. So it's got all the nice little shiny bits, all of that, again, enthusiast grade stuff. The seats are really nice and comfortable, decently supportive. Overall, this car looks mega, don't you think? I love this color, and I love the fact that the color comes through on the inside. I know that's not what we're here to talk about, but it's a really nifty looking little thing. The Miata, well, it's a Miata, isn't it? Therefore, it is the antidote to all things modern day. One corner down in the Miata and you are transported to those first days of driving and of experiencing those elemental forces that we all love and lust over. The pull of the acceleration, the G when you brake, the understeer, the oversteer, the body roll. I love all of it, and the Miata always provides. But which one of these two driver-focused masterpieces is best? So look, the Lotus is a lot more car. It's certainly closer to a baby mid-engined supercar than it is to, say, a road-going sports car like this. But of course, all that engineering, all that power, all those luxury materials, that comes at a price. You get a Lotus Emira up to about 100 grand. This starts in the 30s. You can get a really, really nice one like this in the 40s. And look at me, I'm like a kid in a bloody candy store or what have you. I'm right on the edge, and I'm not even slightly concerned. It's so pin sharp and infinitely workable and malleable. You can get into a corner and go, hold on a second, I need to give it a little bit of brake here. And you know, all that's going to happen really is you're just going to unsettle the rear end a bit, which is great fun. There's a reason that enthusiasts have fawned over this car for, 3+ decades. I bet Colin Chapman would have liked it. And I think that speaks volumes, right? I think that is kind of what we're talking about here. We're kind of talking about a car that's a Lotus now becoming something else, something more if you'd like to call it that. Certainly something different to what the Lotuses of old were. And then you've got this, which is a Lotus, kind of, No winner here. In fact, they're both winners. All I'll say is, if I had the money for a little track goer, well, I mean, I'd probably have the Lotus, right? Because the Lotus is infinitely more pleasurable to have, but the Miata is spectacular. Best value for money car on the market, certainly offers the most value of all the cars that we have here.